It's Astrea versus Gumiho coming up the docket here for you on this video. It's a great series. It's a best of 3 in the quarterfinals of ESL's EPT Cup North America number 114. But again, before we get into the video, reminder, like, comment, subscribe, do that thing. It really does help me out. Allows me to continue to grow and improve and do all of these things. And also I stream on Twitch every Monday, EPT NA, every Saturday, Apprentice Cup at 3 p.m. Eastern, EPT Korea at 10 p.m. Eastern. Apprentice Cup's coming up soon. That'll be every Tuesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern until the playoffs, which will be on the weekends, and some other stuff as it happens. But for now, folks, enjoy the video. In the bottom left, in the blue, he is for AlphaX, Astrea. In the upper right, in the red, just took out Pig 2-0. He is for PSISTORM, the Terran Gumiho. Carrots are nothing like celery, Alaros. Celery is not sweet. Carrots have sucrose in them, or whatever. They're sweet. Therefore, you're putting sweet on sweet because peanut butter is subtly sweet as well. And that's just not a good combination. You want... Celery is the boat for ants on the log to work. It's not supposed to be super flavorful. It is a textural component, and it is a bit of a fresh component, but it is not the star of the dish. Ugh. Yes, I'm the Flash, Alaros. No, so the way it happens, fuck you gaming, is I have a replay buffer set up that captures the last 20 seconds of just whatever's happening. And I say, okay, well, why is that useful? Well, so whenever something happens, I hit a button, and that saves the replay to a folder. And then I wrote a script that clears the folder out every time something happened. Every time I move to a new series, I have to do that manually, as I just did right there. You didn't notice. And then I have a script that runs in OBS that says when I go to my out of game screen, I'm going to refresh a VLC media playlist that then that is playing these. Because the way OBS does it by default is when OBS opens, they read what's in the playlist, they go from there. Or whenever you make the playlist, or whenever you manually update it. Which is not what you want if you are if you're trying to do this actively updating it. So instead what happens is you go and well, English is hard. There's this plugin that will, whenever I go out of game, it will refresh the sources in this playlist. So then when I go to my instant replay or my highlights scene, it's all right there. Fairly simple, but it took me about 3 months to figure out because I had to find the script. And I could have maybe written my own, but much like the logarithmic or the exponential curve of I'm going to script this because I do it a lot, and therefore I'm going to make my life easier when instead you just spend all your time on the script. There's the next step of that is I could script this, but I bet someone's made it, so I just need to find it. That's how that one works. As Astrea, he's opened up... Oh, This is not good for Astrea here. He's opened up with Phoenix play, but Gumiho, he's going for that build. Well, actually, not even. He's just going for a 3-rack stim timing. Now, Astrea will scout this, and that is massive. If he did not scout this, if he didn't know what was coming, he would be dead, but at least now he has the chance. He has the opportunity. He's got one shot. And hopefully his mom will not be spaghetti. But instead, his knees will be steady. Yeah, but they have very different flavor profiles there, Alaros. So notice Astrea has absolutely cut his Phoenix production. He's at 3. He's not really building more Phoenix at the moment. He's got just enough to put some harassment on to lay the gas mining at the natural, which is going to be nice. This Phoenix will not go down. And what does Astrea have back at home? I would love to see an Immortal, but no. He's just getting Observers out right now. And he's going to knock down some of the reinforcements, which is nice. But eventually, these Phoenix, they do run out of energy. So you you got to be a little bit careful. Well, not even be careful. They're just limited in utility. So Astrea, what has he done? He has a shield battery on the way. It's not done yet, but it will be soon. He has a wall here at the natural, and he has a force field. Gumiho, his job, his goal is to stim into the natural and make something happen. So notice, not only is there a pylon here, there's going to be a second one on the way. Astrea does not want to get supply blocked. He does not want to have everything get depowered. So for now, it's a depths. Gumiho's going to look to stim on it. Astrea looking to wedge things off. He gets a fairly good wedge here. Only some of the Marine... Oh, actually, one Marine is in the force field. Didn't know you could do that. One Marine's going to run into the main base, just try to be annoying. Depth's going to have to chase that down. But now with the Immortal out and the shield battery still pretty much full because it was only an overcharge that was popped, it's going to be fine. Notice also, Astrea, he sent an Adept out, hoping that maybe Gumiho was not on hold position, and he was going to be able to just fish a couple Marines out, kill them off, and go from there. But now more Marines do arrive, and Gumiho will try to force Astrea out of this position because, well, Astrea does not want to lose this Robo, and he will. So now Colossus timing extremely delayed. Phoenix on the other side of the map. Gumiho, or Astrea, has gone back into them. So now he's able to knock off reinforcements really well. I don't know if he sees the third base being made on location just yet, but he's going to be forced there. So now he should know, and this Phoenix should get lifted on up. It looks like a Phoenix. Was that a Phoenix? Okay, it looks like a Phoenix in the middle of the map was on the rally, was taken down. But now the third base will be delayed here. Will be denied by Astrea for a time. Now he's going double Robo. And it would almost not surprise me to see him go double Robo Disruptor from here, but most likely this is just double Robo Colossus. It's fine. I am surprised to not see Astrea take advantage of the lack of build time to just get really quickly into extended thermal lance, but I think he understands in part that this is just a very heavy Marine army, in part because he delayed gases at the natural. I take every issue with a carrot eaten with peanut butter. That just does not sound good. Yeah, sweetness is maybe not the proper thing I'm looking. I'm looking like it's the earthiness. I'm telling you is, ew. Carrots and peanut butter does not sound like the best thing. Now, carrots and a more cream-based dip. Carrots and tzatziki. Carrots and hummus. Ooh. I'll eat that. Now the Phoenix, though, Astrea's got himself up to a rather nice number. He's sitting at 7 Phoenix, and that means this is a nice mineral line, and more important, look at this. He's going to delay all the supply depots. So Gumiho, he's going to keep macroing, but it's going to take him a while to actually be able to reinforce here. And look at this, the Phoenix, they're going to find a medevac as well. There's just not enough Marines out on the map, so the medevacs, in fact, they want to sit where the Marines are, so maybe they can take a Phoenix as well. That's not going to happen. With this Colossus here as well, well, 9 SCVs have gone down. Astrea has this third base locked down with cannons and shield batteries and a Colossus, and with no Marauders here, that's just not a good thing. But we got a drop of the main base. This is the master plan of Gumiho at work. He's going to try to make something happen. This is where the Marauders are. They just need to get lifted. The Marines trying to get on top of this Colossus, but no dice. Because while Gumiho may be a gambler, Astrea is not. And he is not going to make that die roll is not going to be where it needs to be. But the Colossus dies at the end, and we got a drop here into the third base. That's not going to be all that useful. Dropping the natural as well. Zealots get warped in. Phoenix just knocking down the medevacs, making sure that this Marine ball does not have the healing it needs, and the rest of them get picked up. So the Zealot is actually doing a damn fine job. But still, it looks like the Phoenix, they're going to run out of energy for just a moment. So we need something to rotate over. Looks like the Immortal and the Colossus should be enough for now. Yeah, this is going to get cleaned up. Only 4 workers have died from Gumiho's attempt at the swarm all over the map. Hey, Gerald, thanks so much for the raid. I guess that means you're out of EPT and A, and that's sad. But at least you can enjoy an excellent PvT between Astrea and Gumiho's. The random wood of mine will get its pound. It's not going to kill anything, but it does make these Phoenix weaker, and that makes them more susceptible later on. Where are we at right now? Astrea, by the way, he was holding off of 2 gateways for the longest time. I guess he lost 1 or 2. No, we didn't lose a single gateway from that drop. Okay. The interesting thing, though, is Astrea, he's still committing to his Phoenix tech. That's the big deal. Sometimes you'll see players, they go up to 7, 8, 9 Phoenix, and they say, okay, well, this is my gameplay. That's fine. And then as they lose them, they don't come back. you don't keep building them because they're expensive, and eventually you're on blink stalker attack, and that kind of takes the same place. But in this game, no, Astrea has continued to build Phoenix. He wants to stay up at that 6, 7, 8 mark. Now we got a big zealot run by coming on in. Widowmines on the back line, actually. Interesting target fire there from Gumiho, but it should be enough. Steady targeting on one zealot. And that's another 100 free minerals. There we go. And as Cord Muscles has hit the YouTube command, I'd like to remind you all that this cast, if you're watching from YouTube, you're going to say, well, no duh, Bayo, I'm watching this on YouTube. But if you're on Twitch, this cast will be uploaded in sweet, sweet, crisp 4K. 4K 60 on YouTube once the day's over and once I get down to editing it. Probably, well, might be later in the week because I got to prep for a presentation on Wednesday. But Gumiho, his supply does continue to expand, and most importantly, a lot of that supply is in his income, as he's been pretty skyrocketing ahead with Triple Mule, with going up about 7 extra workers. And Astrea, while he got good eco damage early, has not been able to find the same level of success later on. So we're gonna have to see what happens with that one. If Astrea can start hurting the economy as opponent, we're gonna see force fields go down. EMPs blanket the army, but I mean, with the force fields here, you can't break force fields as the Terran. Astrea is only on 2 Colossus. There's not really a lot of splash in this army. We don't see disruptors on the way. Maybe eventually we're going to see some blink DTs as a core component. Dust has been messing around with that, but for right now, we're going to see Gumiho try to make something happen. Colossus, they got to run back. EMPs blanket this entire army. Shield battery overcharge. It's popped defensively to make sure that Astrea can at least get some shields back onto this army. But Gumiho says, okay, that's fine. I'm going to rotate into the 3rd base. I'm going to start to knock down your static defense right there. But Astrea just maybe he's going to be able to trap him down here just a little bit. Phoenix fighting the Vikings, which means the Colossus, they can take the fight. But Astrea, he only has 2 Colossus. This army that he has, it just does not have a lot of splash damage. And sure, the Zealots in the natural, they're getting a lot of value. But the lack of disruptors are a significant problem. And Astrea is going to lose pretty much all of the workers that he has killed. Stars blink forward though, and the Colossus do stay alive with disruptors on the way. Maybe. All right, so now disruptors are on the way. Astrea going in for a 3-point flank. Disruptor shots on the, oh my God, the disruptor shot. It is massive here, and yeah, sure, one of them is going to go down. Sure, a scan gets forced, but this Colossus is going to clean everything up. And meanwhile, the Zealots, they're finally cleaned up as well, but the Stars blink forward. The surprise disruptors, they're the Spanish Inquisition. No one expects them except smart viewers would have, because we saw it happening in real time. So the rest of this army of Gumiho, it's shattered. The supply gap is much smaller now. The big deal, of course, is that Gumiho, he did not lose any bases. He lost a ton of mining, a ton of SCVs, but his base is still alive, which means he continued to mule and continue to mine. Alaros, every year we have something called we have a conference, the internal conference. It's called the RIP, Research in Progress. And it's just, I'm presenting my research for 15 minutes, what I'm currently working on. 15-minute presentation, 5-minute directed Q&A. So that fight, it really brought things back for Astrea, even after losing that 3rd base and losing a lot of probes. Even if he'd been able to evacuate earlier, he'd be in a great spot. But now it does kind of equalize things. He's sitting here at 3-1 because Gumiho forgot his armor upgrades. It's going to make these Zealots much more impactful as they look to run in, and certainly the DTs as they assumedly blink on top of the Terran army. Well, it really just makes it makes everything from Astrea that much more effective. Did Gumiho only have 1 eBay? He does. And he didn't lose it. Yeah, Gumiho has just been playing on 1 eBay this entire time. I guess that explains the big supply lead that he opened up. So Astrea was in a great spot, and then he was in not so great a spot after losing that base and 23 workers, but now he's in a fairly decent spot again as the army of Gumiho now again have rods on forward. It's 10-15 army supply lead, but not the biggest of deals actually, as the DTs are going to find their way into the natural. You gotta be careful of the Widowmines. Okay, there's Mr. Turret there, but it's really not going to land. So 15 more workers go down. Widowmine now will kill some of these DTs, but not many. And the army runs on forward. EMPs blanket this, and well, you got to be careful. Stalkers, they will blink on forward. They're doing what they can. Hey, Dan Awakes. Thanks so much for the follow. Glad you're here. Okay, so now Gumiho, he understands that maybe it's a little bit difficult to break the core 4 of the Protoss. So he's going to stim into the 4th base while his main army was on the right side. Go forward. Surprised we don't see the Ghosts get targeted down, but instead the Marauders, which honestly, Ghosts don't kill Stalkers all that well, so you kill the things to kill the Stalkers. And then you kill everything else. Oh, that's a bunch of medevacs. 4 or 5 medevacs go down. I just look at the resources. Oh, actually, surprisingly enough, just about even. I thought it was going to start to, or it's just about that 2,000 resources loss mark where it has been. I thought it was going to be worse, and now EPs go down. The Ghost is starting to fall here as well, and Shield Batter Overcharge means that this EMP is not doing all that much now. The bio stims forward. Colossus goes down, but that's a douchey disruptor shot on the left side. Gumiho just not hitting the splits as he needs to, and that is, again, massive shot after massive shot. Astrea playing this masterfully, but even still, the army of Gumiho still seems rather strong. The Zealots not really getting the engagements that they need. And it feels like the Disruptors, maybe they've run out of juice for the moment. There's not enough here. So Gumiho, he's going to stim his way on in. Only 4 Zealots being made at a time because Astrea's kind of broke. And now the Disruptors move a little too far forward, but there we go. That's another shot. The army of Gumiho feels like maybe it's broken right now. Disruptors only getting single bits of units because, well, most of the army is dead, but still what is there? These are +3 Marines and Marauders with personal healers. But DTs, again, they found more value. Gumiho has lost 80 SCVs over the course of this game. 80 SCVs. That's a lot. This looks like these DTs at the 3rd base, they're getting it found out, but how many do we have? What is that? 8 Dark Templar at the planetary. That is just enough to 2-3 shot the planetary. So Astrea should be looking to kill this base. I'm surprised he hasn't. But maybe he values SCVs more than he values a base, which I don't know is the proper move, actually, as 1DT runs in. Oh, actually, that's pretty cool. So notice he runs it into it. He gets the friendly fire, and now the rest of DT should be able to blink right on past, and they will. So Widow Mines don't land. 3rd base gets lifted. 14 more SCVs go down as Gumiho is going to stim his way on into this 6th base of Astrea, but Astrea is taking 2 bases at once. He can kind of survive this for now. And the Disruptor shot does not really land. In fact, there's only 1 Disruptor on the map, and this is still a scary Terran army. At the moment, Stalkers blink forward. So functionally, this is a 2-base Terran. He's only on 28 workers. Less than that, honestly. And I like what we see Astrea doing here. He held with the Disruptors, and they were very good. But he understands that because the Colossus have been dead for a little bit, most likely, and I believe he scouted this for the most part, Gumiho is not building Vikings anymore. In fact, he's building Liberators. At least he's setting up for it with extended Liberator range. Colossus is actually very good against Liberators, because they allow you to sit kind of on the edge of things, actually do damage to the Terran army while you're not sitting under the aegis of a liberation zone. Now, this does get a little more complicated once Liberator range is done, because then, oh, Colossus being good because they outrange Liberators, it's less true. You get that additional Liberator range, and then it just becomes very complicated. And Gumiho, most likely, we're going to see him go up to, I mean, who knows how many Liberators he goes up to, but the answer is going to be a lot. And that will make, he's going to hit this point, this kind of critical mass of Liberators, where it just is really hard. It's really damn hard for the Protoss player to fight. So Astrea, if he scouts this, that may be a go time for him. But for right now, he's trying to get his 6th base up. I don't know if he quite understands the economic situation that he's in, because Gumiho is going to very quickly mine out of this base. The Minor Patch is running dry in the 3rd. The 4th base also running dry, because the 3rd base has not been mining all that much. Okay, more and more Disruptors on the way. Is Astrea content on 4 Colossus. More DTs get warped in. The Zealots are going to find this army, and it is a better upgraded Protoss army, so they can take that fight, even with technically late game Gateway not being all that great. The question now is, what type of game is Astrea playing? Really, it's a difficult question to answer because it almost feels like he could make something happen. But he's spending a lot of money in his tech and his economy and things that are not his army. So this supply lead, while it is massive, a lot of it is in his economy, which doesn't really impact the army state all that much. But now we're going to see the army of Gumiho look to get aggressive on here. Astrea running forward. Liberator range is going to be a thing. Disruptor shots are going to be rather nice indeed. And no disruptors died just yet. That's going to be nice. I'm almost surprised we haven't seen Astrea transition into Sky Toss. Not necessarily because it is good or not good, but because it is something that Astrea has really been experimenting with, particularly on this map, particularly in this matchup. So we're going to have to see as more and more Zealots get warped in. Liberator on the west side will cause problems. DT's bling on top of this army. So, you know, just because you can see him doesn't mean you can kill him. And EMPs get forced. A lot of the army goes down. But now, just to see Astrea jumping on top of this army, Stalkers moving on forward. It's only +1. It's not +2 airs. So you don't have that 2-shot potential on the Stalkers just now. And now Liberators looking to zone out things. Widowmine shot's actually going to cause a problem. But the Colossus, again, they have great range. They make it so hard for Gumiho to do what he wants to do. So Gumiho says, oh, okay, well, your army's on the other side of the map. Let me run across the map as well. And this may force a recall as the Stalkers blink in. Liberators are starting to go down here. We're seeing more economy of the Terran player go down. The supply certainly favors the Protoss, but base trades, they don't care about supply as much as any other part of this game. So third Nexus goes down for Astrea, but he still has plenty more where that came from. He's going to knock down this other base. Stalkers with +3 should be able to disrupt this as well. Please set that burning. They will not do so. And we have a recall into the... Where's this recall? Oh, recall as far away from things as possible. That's a bit annoying. Stalkers should be able to get on this Liberator. And now Gumiho is going to try to chase down the economy. It's a minor army supply lead right now for Astrea, which is kind of the thing we're looking at. Somebody is on the other side of the map. Stalkers trying to find a safe spot where they can knock these Liberators down. And he's kind of found one, but it's not perfect. And there are very few Stalkers. Only 7 Stalkers in this army right now. So it's hard to even catch this drop. Oh, Gumiho's got outpositioned. He's going to drop into the main base. Astrea has nothing here. He spent all of his warpins just a second ago. He doesn't have a lot of money either. And it feels like Gumiho may be starting, maybe just a little bit, to pull a rabbit out of a hat here in this game number 1. Astrea has been ahead for the last forever, but the lack of Stalkers means he can just kind of go high ground, low ground, drop around, jump around, get up and get down, or something. The worker deficit has been equalized. Gumiho has mules that Astrea does not. As we're going to see the scouting factory saying, oh, well, there's a base down there. Okay. It looks like the drop from Gumiho finally going on home. And Gumiho is, despite everything being technically good for, better for Gumiho in the last minutes, he's not really mining. There are 2 mineral patches in the natural here, and one of them is just about to mine out. Nothing in the main, very little in the third, and it's not mining. 4th base only with 4 mineral patches as well, and this one is just about to mine out in 5 trips, or 2.5 trips. What do you want to say? All right, so DT's run in, but Widowmines are enough to defend for now. And Astrea is going to try to move across the map. Notice he was waiting, I believe, for recall. So now that recall is done, he can feel safe getting aggressive again, because he's not going to lose too much theoretically. So there we go. We will see the Widowmine get shot down. Looks like there are no observers on the map for the moment. Disruptor shot. Oh God, Gumiho, that's not what you wanted. Now it's a 50 army supply lead. Now we're going to start to see some command centers start to burn, and sure, Gumiho is going to look to go counterattack with something, but Astrea is going to be pretty happy. He just knocked down a third of the Terran army supply, as the Liberators will get dealt with on the bottom side. Astrea, he's running home, and, well, he's not running to the right spot, but he will find this situation here. And while things get depowered, he doesn't really care. As long as he has the production structures, he's going to be rather happy. So now Zealots find their way in, and the DTs should blink on top of this. There we go. The Zealots are enough to fight this army. There's just not enough pickups, actually. So where once there was a big army. Now there is not, but look at this. The drop on the north side is going to try to cut this army off, and it's just not going to work. The Vikings are doing what they can, but Astrea takes the base trade, and he takes game 1. In the bottom left, in the red, he's up 1-0 in the series off a 25-minute epic. Give it up for Astrea. In the upper right, in the red, he's down 1, but let's be real here. Both players had 3 or 4 shots to win that game. He is, for PSISTORM, Gumiho. I'm glad you enjoy the score ticker, muchacho. Oh, muchacho. Not muchacho. I wrote it myself. Well, suddenly made the little graphic for it. But I wrote the tool that pulls the data from Liquidpedia and puts it in ticker form. It's one of the many production services that I provide to tournament organizers should they desire it. You want to see more of that? I made a video about it. Although I don't think I used the ticker for Katowice. Or for King of Battles 2 for that matter. Only for DreamHack B streams. Funnily enough. Okay, so Gumiho is going to scout this proxy immediately. It looks like the plan was for proxy Oracle for Astrea. And he may even just cancel this pylon. But I think he probably keeps it up for now just to maintain his supply gap. Huh. Blizzard games are all the same, hashtag Renat says. Well, maybe. I did think it was funny that, so I was watching when Liquid downed the crab in 357 odd pulls or whatever it was. And they played a really cool, like 1 minute overview videos. Look, Gumiho playing Ring Around the Rosie here. He's going to get 2 probes. And he may just get a 3rd, but the Adept should complete its shade, and that will be that. But 2 probes, that's not supposed to happen. So the Reaper, he scouts the proxy. He scouts everything else, and he's causing problems. It looks, though... Well, I guess Gumiho just made a high ground command center. So going back to that thought, though. On their little intro for Anduin Rin, the boss, I'm not sure, the Wraith King, or the Lich King voiceover, whoever it was, sounded exactly like Artanis. Instead of, today we retake our legacy, today we retake our homeworld, today we retake something. So another Hellion's going to dive in, but it shouldn't find much of anything. Defensive Oracle, for now. And Gumiho, where does he go from here? He's got a medevac on the way, so it looks like he's just going to go for maybe a double Cyclone drop, Marine Hellion or Marine Cyclone drop, something like that. Which seems weird, but he's Gumiho, and he does Gumiho things, and we're going to have to find out. For now, the Oracle is going to serve as a scouting tool. It has been scouted, and the timing is too late for the Oracle to get too much damage done anyways. He had a second one, and honestly, the difference between 1 and 2 Oracles is kind of the difference between 1 and 3, and, well, that's not quite true, but it's not as impactful as it is in the other 2 matchups, because, of course, SCVs have 55 HP, drones and probes effectively have, or 45 and 40. Which means that Oracles take 3 ticks of damage, so you can't one-shot SCVs with 2 Oracles. It requires 3. But for now, we got the Marine drop on the west side. This pylon will go down. Astrea getting supply blocked for just a little bit. He needs to drop a second pylon. He said that the pylon that he's making to make sure he doesn't get supply blocked is now the pylon that does unsupply block him. Although maybe with the Nexus, he's going to be fine, and that adds just a little bit more. And that's Stasis Traps. We've seen Protoss players start to mess around with this more and more, and it's been rather successful, but 5 Marines into the main base is going to be a little bit of a problem. The Oracle's actually, without Stim, the Oracle should be able to just kind of deal with this. Probes getting pulled as well, and that is going to be the extent of things. I don't think any probes went down. And Astrea now, he's going to warp in. Cyclones are going to take a little bit of damage, but there we go. The Marines rotating left. They will also find a stasis, and this is just delaying the push from Gumiho so damn long. Now, the Vikings will find these oracles, and that is a little bit annoying. In fact, the oracles, they're just guaranteed dead now. No escaping the Cyclone and the lock-on. Oh, there we go. Last shot. But they did serve their purpose. They showed Astrea where the army is and what is happening, how committed this is. Okay, so now Astrea, he's got Blink on the way, +1. And a lot of gateways, but no Robo. So he may look to just hit a really big timing here as Gumiho looks to run into the third base. But now 4 depths and okay. Gumiho will react saying, okay. Too much army there for Astrea to find the value he was looking for. And Stim is, of course, done now. Combat shields are on the way. Both players played with some really late upgrades in this game. The +2 now on the way. Robo finally getting added for Astrea. And he's not real. I can't imagine he gets too aggressive. Well, actually, is this a pylon on the right side? No, it's just depths. I cannot imagine that Astrea gets too aggressive until he has a Warp Prism, even if he does just want to stay on mid-game tech for the moment, but you never know. Astrea, he does some weird stuff sometimes. And so, oh, that's a bit of a ballsy blink there, Astrea. I don't know that you want to do that. He will lose a Stalker in the exchange, but if he's able to get out, and Stalkers, there we go. They get out. He got that read a little bit better than I did. Because let's be honest, folks, I'm illiterate. I can't read. Game state, books, same deal. Nobody knows. I don't know. But charge now on the way as the Templar Archives is as well. Quad drop of Widow Mines into the main bases. Gumiho looking again to just distract and dissuade and defray and all other SATD words that don't mean what I think they mean. But this is these Zealots are all just dead. That's a lot of Marines. Zealots do not fight Marines all that well. The Widow Mine drop. Is it? Where is it, actually? It looks like it's not just here. Was it brought back with the army? I don't know. Keeping an eye out for it, but I do not see it. Maybe the Phoenix found it, because I think there's one Phoenix. Oh, there's only one Phoenix. But anyway, Astrea here with this +1, he's taking a fairly decent fight despite everything blinking and blinking for all he's worth. But eventually, the Bio steps forward. Probes are going to have to get pulled to defend here, but charge is not done yet, so you can't warp on Zealots to make this defense happen. Widow Mines running in now. 11 probes die. You got to be very careful of the Widow Mines here, Astrea. Losing all your workers would be a disaster, and we're going to see the Phoenix try to drag the Widow Mine, but it's not too successful in that endeavor. And there we go. The Zealots not warped in where they need to be either. Gumiho, he is just punching through the might of Astrea. Weird builds for both sides, but far weirder at the end of the day for Astrea than they are for Gumiho. GG, folks. We're going to game 3. In the upper left, in the blue. Again, tied up here in this series. He is for AlphaX, Astrea. In the bottom right, in the red. Taking game number 2 with a weird build, but it worked out for him, so sure. And in fairness, his build not as weird as his opponent's. He is for PSISTORM, Astrea, or wow. He is for PSISTORM, Gumiho. So what happens here in this game? Of course, Curious Minds is a little bit shorter. So maybe we might see some aggression here. I don't know. Gumiho, again, when he came back from the military, he was doing this weird concussive shell marauder. It's not a proxy marauder, but he would build concussive shells in his base, run the 2 marauders across the map, try or keep them back home, depending on the game, and just try to catch that first adept, kill it off, and deny map control. Kind of weird, but okay, sure. You know, if you're coming back from the military, I respect it. I respect it a whole hell of a lot. Try to figure out new things. Don't just play what other people are playing. If you have a fresh set of eyes in the game, because you haven't been playing all that much in the last year and a half, define the meta, redefine the meta. Classic brought Charizard, or like Phoenix into Charizard Archon Storm back into the meta when he came back from the military, at least for a little bit. I haven't seen that too much recently, but that's more because of how the Terran openers have adapted. You can't kind of get away with it as much anymore. And it's interestingly enough here, we see Gumiho going double Reaper, which you don't see that all that often. It is a exponential increase in the time, or exponential decrease in the time it takes to kill probes, or I guess not technically exponential, but it is 50%. 3 shots instead of 6. 1, 2, 3 Reapers, all massive fractional improvements in the time it takes to kill a probe, but once you get 4, 5, it doesn't really matter, and then you get 6, and you're like, okay, 1 shot. So now we're going to see the Reapers and the Hellions look to dive in. There's no wall here for Astrea. He has a Stalker, though, and that does mean at the very least the Hellion will go down. So Hellion trades his life for an Adept. It looks like Gumiho wants to go for a bit of an early tank push in this game. So tank is out. Medevac's on the way. Additional Marines. It looks like what we're going to see here is you put tank in the Medevac, you put 4 Marines in the Medevac, you run across the map with whatever else you got, and you start just trying to siege up awkward positions for the Protoss player, much like he would do in a TVT. Of course, Astrea has not put too much of his tech in any weird spot. He hasn't tried to block the Reaper Cliff off, and therefore losing a Cybercore at this stage in the game would really hurt. But it still can be annoying. So the Medevac drop actually looks like it's going to try to go on the main base here and wedge itself behind the mineral line. Is Astrea paying attention? That's the big question here. And it looks like he's not just seen it until right now. So now 4 Marines to tank into the mineral line. Tank staging up right now. Probes have to get pulled one way or the other, either defensively or aggressively. And already 5 workers go down, 8 workers go down. Marines just chasing everything down here. Stalkers not where they need to be. This is a masterful move from the Gumi God. He finds himself up a worker at the end of things. I don't know how much more he's going to get, but I would love to see him try to kill that pylon. Instead, though, he says, this is enough. This is fine. I killed 11 workers. I caused havoc and mischief and mayhem and woe. But now he does have to get out of here because Blink is done. He was not able to cancel that. Honestly, maybe killing Blink would have been more... No. It would have been impactful, but not as impactful as killing 11 workers this stage of the game. And now Cloaked Banshees are about to hit the field too. Astrea, he has detection soon. He has an observer out now. But just because he has an observer or 2 does not mean he can properly respond, especially as he's only on like 6 Stalkers. They can defend maybe 2 spots. And shield batteries are good, but when you have double Banshee, which is what Gumiho has, and in fact he's going to add even more, suddenly shield batteries don't matter. So you don't have that nice defensive utility of, oh, well, I'm going to sacrifice 1 base and just have shield batteries and I'm going to centralize my Stalkers elsewhere. That's not really a thing, as now the army looking to run on forward here. Tank siege on up, and we're going to see the Robo get targeted down immediately. So no defensive immortals as second Banshee joins the field. Astrea, he's going to look for a big flank, a big blink on top of the army. Just toot sweet, and well, the Banshees, they will make themselves invisible, and actually looks like they're out of range. No, okay, no, the Stalkers do have what they need to do. Is the bio gets blinked upon. Wow, the tanks get blinked upon, but every Stalker dies. He changes 38 army supply to 8. We got a little bit of lag here, unfortunately. That's a bad time for this lag to happen. Oh, and it's Astrea too. Oh no. Oh no. Pylon was powering his internet. Oh, we're back. I mean, I think we're going to be back into a GG pretty much. The Stalker's going to try to find that, but the tanks are spread up enough. So there we go. We're back. GG. Gumiho, he takes down Astrea. And folks, it's not a PvP Grand Finals. We have a Terran in there.